and trauma, you're welcome to just walk in and access the services. So you're asked to just fill out kind of a little paper on what's bringing you in, and then we can supervise the client right away if you need criteria for that. So these are really brief. They're only about 20 minutes long, just to kind of assess safety, assess risk, understand a little bit more about what's bringing you in, and then also getting you connected with resources. So again, for those of you who are going not on our campus, right, you're going to other universities, they will also have triage appointments available. They'll also have individual counseling available, group counseling available, different workshops, and again, that after-hour support. So keep that in mind as you're transitioning and navigating campus. Any questions so far about our services? Okay. Oh, yes.
How many sessions for individual therapy are you offer?
Great question. Okay, so I don't think I have that on here. So we provide very brief individual therapies. That means on average, students are typically seeing about 4 to 5 sessions. And sometimes they're not guaranteed to be weekly appointments. So it really just depends on what your goals are for counseling, what would be most helpful for you to work on. If for any reason you're presenting concerns seem to be more longer term, or you're wanting something that's a little bit longer, we can always talk a little bit more about referrals in the community or through health insurance or any other resource that might be a better fit for you. So there's no hard or fast rule. It's really just, there's no kind of one encompassing answer. I would say at least on average 4 to 5 sessions. You are guaranteed an intake appointment, which means you come in, you do that assessment, you talk more about goals, what you want to work on, what would be helpful for you, and then you can kind of talk with your counselor a little bit more about how often you'd like to be seen. Yeah, great question. I saw another hand, yes.
Is there any wait period or anything like that? Because last semester I referred a couple of my classmates to get services and they wouldn't even take the appointment. So I'm wondering if there's any wait list for the people, because I know you guys take crisis, people in crisis, but for the people who are struggling with anxiety or what other things, what's the time like?
Yeah, great question. So I know that's a really frustrating experience for our students. I feel your pain. I feel the same thing when we can't see our students regularly. We do schedule out 2 weeks in advance, and that seems to be fluctuating year by year. So before we were scheduling out a month in advance. Now we seem to be scheduling out 2 weeks in advance. Who knows if that's going to change? Policies are always changing. So I always recommend calling on a Monday morning or walking in on a Monday morning. That's typically when they're scheduling most of their appointments. Apart from that, the other opportunity is going through our workshops to get some of the support for stress or for anxiety. We have a lot of, I have some flyers here for art wellness workshops, which is really great, just a space to practice arts and then talk more about that anxiety or just what's coming up. So yeah, I would say right for now, it's a 2-week wait. Yeah, and that could change, so don't quote me on that. Thank you. Yeah, great question. Any other questions? Okay. Quickly, just want to briefly again share that our services are confidential, so nobody would know that you've sought therapy at all. Your professors wouldn't know. A lot of the times, a lot of the professors within the master's programs are telling their students to come and just experience counseling for themselves, just kind of have more of that personal development, that personal growth. So they wouldn't know. There are times when we are mandated to report information that you may share. So if there's any thought of harming yourself or harming anybody else, if there's any experience of child abuse, elder abuse, or dependent adult abuse, I'm sure you've heard of this, or maybe will be learning this as clinicians, as future clinicians. Or if the records are subpoenaed by the court, so that's another time you have to provide them. Apart from that, everything you share is confidential. Typically, they're consultants, so if you are seeing one of our interns, they will reach out to our staff just to consult. All of their work is reviewed by us, by senior staff. So keeping that in mind. All right, that was a quick, brief overview of CAP services. Any questions before we jump into stress management? No question is a silly question.
I know at the beginning of this program,
Apple mentioned it, that they said that there is additional services. I think like a small fee, for example, I think acupuncture and massage. Would that be for you guys? And if so, would those be appointment based or walk-in based or how does that work?
Yeah, great question. So again, our number that's located just on our website and everything like that, you can contact that number or you can contact specifically just the student health center themselves. The front desk takes care of all those appointments. So those are the ones that actually fill up really fast. The acupuncture and all of that, they're like the first ones to go. Chiropractors, all of that. So there is a fee for that, but they're usually really booked. And so if you are interested in that, I do recommend scheduling that ASAP while we're here right now in summer. If you're looking into that, go for it, especially before the semester starts, which is just a few weeks away. So there's a fee for that. There is a fee for lab services. So if you need any additional lab work done, typically there'll be a fee for that. So it just depends on what services you're accessing. But yeah, that one is one of them. And it's a very low fee too. It's like $5 or something like that. Yeah, which is really cool. But I've had students say, I've been waiting to make an appointment and we just haven't. They take months sometimes. So, right now, for example, we're all available. We have staff right now for summer. So if you're taking summer classes, you have access to our services for summer, and then that resets August 24th. So that resets for the whole new academic year. We're open over winter break as well, so that's another time students access our services, and then again in summer, we're open as well. So about half of our staff are around over summer. So that's another opportunity to access resources. Great question. Any other questions?
So for during summer break and then winter break, you have
Correct. Yeah, so for winter break, you don't. As long as you're enrolled for spring semester, you'll have access to services over winter. For summer, it's different. It's about $85. That gives you access to up to 5 sessions with a counselor. And then it also gives you access to the whole health center, medical appointments, all of that for the summertime, which is May up until August. If you are enrolled in a class over summer, then yes, that's already included as part of your fees. Yeah, good question. All right. All good? Great questions. And so, again, if you have additional questions, please don't hesitate to email me. My information is all online. Also, you can also access all of this information on our website. So hopefully you find whatever questions you may have, some information online as well. Okay? I do have flyers here, and I'll hand them out later. Whoever would like to take them for our art wellness workshops. So this is just a space. It's going to be on Wednesdays. Wednesdays, 12 to 1:15. And it's just a space to do a different art projects. So we do origami, clay, writing letters, poetry in motion, create a postcard, coloring, things like that. So that's a really fun activity. I was like, can I go as staff? No, I'm allowed to go. It's only just for the students. So. Huh?
I was going to ask.
I know, right? I wish. I got banned from that, so I can't go. That's okay. I have a coloring book at home. That helps. So yeah, that's a really cool workshop that we have going on for all of spring semester. It's not during summer or winter time. It's just fall and spring. So keeping that in mind. All right, let's move along now. Talking a little bit more about stress management and self-care, my favorite topic. Did you all know that stress is desserts spelled backwards? Right?
So you're eating your stress?
Right? It's just like that. I saw it on Mark. And I was like, I need to buy this mug. But, so yes, stress is dessert spelled backwards. And I love that when I said that, half of you, or some of you at least, smiled and laughed, right? That process itself is practicing self-care. And practicing just a way of taking care of ourselves, right? So keep smiling. And remember that stress is dessert spelled backwards. Okay, so a little bit more. Follow along in your packet if you'd like. we talk a little bit more about stress, but before we jump into kind of more about symptoms of stress, I know I have my little definition up here, but what does stress look like for you? Right? We all experience stress in different ways. It looks different for all of our bodies. What do you think it looks like for you? Take a moment to kind of reflect, think about what stresses look like for you during undergrad, maybe what it looks like for you now as you're transitioning into your graduate programs, and how you typically experience it. Yeah, would you like to share?
Oh, no, like, no. Sorry. I thought you were waiting for someone to say something.
No, just giving you a moment.
Oh,
Just
okay.
giving you a moment to reflect what stress looks like for you. But yeah, if you'd like to, whoever would like to share, I have a little discussion questions. But what is your definition of stress? Experiencing negative emotions. So your body's reacting to something that's happening, and that's eliciting an emotional response. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing. Others? What does stress mean to you? Yeah.
When you can't cope with something, your body, instead of trying to manage it, it goes into like freak out mode.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? Fight or flight mode, right? Who's heard of that before? Probably in your classes. Absolutely. So that's really the definition of stress, right? Our bodies are responding to what is happening in our environment, and our bodies or our minds are perceiving that to be stressful. And that's what elicits more of that fight or flight response in our bodies. So that's kind of where some of that emotional response comes in, maybe some physical responses, some thoughts that might go through our minds, emotional or behavioral responses. So if you look at your list of different symptoms of stress in the packet, you can get a sense of different examples and responses that our bodies can have. And not all of them will happen, but maybe some of them will. And you might notice that that looks different when maybe we're out vacationing or we're getting ready to take a final or a midterm, right? Our responses are going to be different because the environments are different. So keeping that in mind when you're experiencing stress, really allowing yourself to check in with what's going on, what symptoms am I experiencing right now, what does that look like for me, and what's happening in my environment right now that's triggering, right? What am I responding to in my environment? Okay? So we talked a little bit more about what stress looks like for you, what happens when you experience stress, and what do you notice? How will stress be different from undergraduate, graduate experience? So go ahead and kind of pair up as best you can in threes. Do a quick little discussion with your neighbor or twos, whatever works for you. Do a quick discussion with your neighbor of what stress looks like for you specifically, right? What happens to you when you experience stress? And how do you think this is going to transition as you move into graduate school? Okay, that's key. How will that look different when you move into graduate school? All right? Ready, set, go.
It's like, oh my god,
everything. Well, I've been in it is good. It is stressful.
I definitely have like I'll get like go.
I like stress eats the best. Really stress out stuff like
I went for golf.
Yeah.
like too stressed. I get like too stressed. So then I get too I get really anxious right, but then when the crisis, then I'm just kind of like can't expect anything in the day. So I'm very patient. Yeah, like I'll get like really anxious and then just kind of I like if it gets too far, I'm just kind of like forget everything. Like I'm like, you know, I don't want to do it. And then I'm really like, yeah,
Everything about it.
I'll get mad at like,
If someone asks you a question, like you're supposed to know, you're the professional. The opposite, I'm shifty. I used to be like, it's gonna be like, well,
so I don't have to like, feel like worry, but then we have like worry.
yeah, I know.
That's like, you don't have to like,
Yeah, I know.
like that whole neck area or whatever, your shoulders get bigger.
I can because I'm kind of like that. I'm like, I gotta move it.
All right, take about 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes.
She got to watch it for my last semester. And her husband, the only thing I was looking for, and then he's like, I just read work. Or you don't have to and she
Alrighty. All right, let's come back together. Great. Some great discussions kind of while I was trying to eavesdrop, but not really. Okay, so who would like to share? What did y'all talk about in your groups? What did you learn? What did you recognize? Yes.
We have like the common theme that stress affects our bodies, and for us, what it looks like is either headaches, tense necks, and we tend to either in some form or another like isolate ourselves, whether it be like actually verbally saying like get away from me, or just isolating ourselves, not saying anything. And we're just talking about like our experiences and how it seems to be like it goes downhill after a while. Like if we don't control it,
Yeah.
then it ultimately ends up hurting us more to the point where like we have like this internal self-doubt that's there.
I hear that. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So it sounds like a lot of body responses that turns into behavioral changes with isolation, not taken care of, and then that kind of turns into more of the thoughts, right? Imposter syndrome, am I good enough for this? Can I do this, right? A lot of the thoughts that kind of lead into that stress. So yeah, thank you for sharing. You're noticing some of the behavioral and mostly the physical responses that our bodies have, right? The headaches, the muscle tension, all of those are really quick signs that we can pick up real fast. Absolutely, thank you. Others, what did other groups notice as far as how they experience stress, what comes up for them, what that looks like for them? Yeah.
Remember we talked about how like everything connects to like our bodies and then our thoughts and our emotions. So all 3 areas get affected.
Yeah.
And you don't know what to do with what. So like we talked about how it is like your emotions, right? So like negative feelings. So then that makes you like sweets, but then that affects your body, how it feels. So it's like this ongoing cycle. And then obviously your thoughts.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So great point here, right? All of these experiences with stress are all connected, they're interconnected, right? Our behavioral changes, our emotional changes, our thoughts, all of them are going to impact each other in significant ways. So one is going to impact the other, and so being able to recognize which part of it is the most response, right? Which part or which area am I experiencing the most responses in, and how do I navigate that? So really being attuned to what's going on for you internally, both in your mind and behaviorally, but also just physically. Because remember, we're all unique and we all experience stress in different ways. So of course, like for me, for example, I experience stress with a lot of physical, like you were saying, right? I notice my back starting to hurt, maybe I start to get muscle tension on my neck, like, okay, I can't keep sitting, or whatever is going on, right? So that starts, then I notice I get really irritable, angry, right? Who gets really irritable and like, just, I don't want to talk to you, go away, right? So that's when I start to recognize, okay, well, I really need to figure out what's going on. What do I need to do a task list? Like, what is the next step to make myself, do I just need to watch Netflix, eat ice cream? Like, what is it that will help me relax in this moment and not react in this way, right? So absolutely checking in with like, okay, is it the thoughts that are making me feel irritable? Is it just this muscle pain that I have that's making me irritable? What part of that area of that response is impacting me the most? Yeah, thank you. Others? What else? What else came up as you were discussing? And maybe the differences between undergraduate and graduate, and like that transition, and what stress looks like for you, that process. Yes?
I definitely can't sleep like insomnia is at the same time, so I can like leading up to this, even though I've been pretty good, I've noticed that I don't sleep as much because I'm thinking about the transition so much, but I mean, I'm learning to like handle it and just do things that may help me.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So a lot of the worry thoughts and thinking about what's coming next, what's going to happen, how do I handle all this, and that's impacting your sleep. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Has anybody else experienced that? Yeah. So those worry thoughts will always continue to be there. That's the tricky part. The cool part about that, though, is that we get to be in control of what goes through our mind. Right? In the end, these thoughts that we experience are really just thoughts. That doesn't mean that they're 100% true. They're not actual facts. A lot of them are often irrational thoughts. They don't make sense, right? Like, I'm going to fail. Well, how do I know that? I haven't even taken the exam. I haven't even started the class yet, right? So how do I know that I'm going to fail? And so recognizing when some of our thoughts are really getting in our way, especially in moments like that. When we're thinking about the future, on the one hand, we're assuming things about ourselves or about others, when we actually don't have any evidence to support that. So really recognizing, well, if it's thoughts that's adding to my stress, how do I shift my mindset? What would that look like? And how do I navigate through what I'm saying to myself so that I'm more supportive and validating of myself versus being critical? Because in the end, we are our own worst critics, our hardest on ourselves. Especially when it comes to this transition from undergrad to graduate school, the expectations that may have been shifting that we have of ourselves and our futures, that starts to shift as well. So really reflecting on, okay, how is this happening for me? What's going on for me? What can I do about it? And how will my stress and coping change as well? Others? What else comes up as you think about this transition from undergraduate to graduate?
I was telling them that I feel like it's gonna be like, I know the undergraduate, like during finals, like towards the end, like all the papers are due, all like the tests are like about to approach. So I feel like that's gonna be like graduate school every day.
So like nonstop, there you go, right? Papers double.
Yeah. Like that's stress.
Double.
We kind of experienced that already, so I feel like it's kind of be like.
So similar.
Yeah, kind of
Feel prepared, and yet still there's a new transition.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So really recognizing, okay, well, how do I now navigate this whole new schedule and whole new set of deadlines, right? Absolutely. Okay. Would anybody else like to add a little bit more about their experience of stress, how they're handling it, before we jump into the stress curve? All right. So again, keep in mind of what's going on for your body, some of the emotional responses, the physical responses, thought responses. All of these things are going to change day to day. I know that seems scary, but this idea that our body is going to react to the environment day to day, and our environment is changing day to day. And so, for example, if I'm on vacation, how am I going to feel? Probably fun. I'm having a good time, right? But maybe a part of me is also feeling stressed because, oh no, I have to take care of X, Y, and Z when I get back, right? So even that positive experience is causing me stress. So stress can come up in a lot of different moments. It can come up when we graduate, when we move, when we get married, when we have new partners. Like, it can come up in positive events, and that's just because our body's reacting to our environment, to a change in what's happening. So stress, again, exists on a continuum. So there's no such thing as zero stress. Our bodies are always going to experience some level of stress. And remember, that's our bodies just having that reaction. The idea behind that is, what level is it at, right? So has anybody seen the stress arc or the stress curve before? Few of you? Some no's? Okay. So if you Google stress curve or stress arc, you'll see a lot of different images. But it's really helpful to see because it helps us recognize and highlight that, again, stress exists on a continuum. There's such thing as burnout, and there's such thing as having little to no stress at all. So if you take a look at the stress curve, you can get a sense of, all right, it's kind of this inverted U. On one end of the spectrum, we have performance, and on the other end of the spectrum, we have kind of our stress level, right? So this is our stress level here, in the bottom, horizontal. And what's vertical is our ability to perform. So the idea, again, is that you might notice, you might be over here on vacation time, right? You're having a good time with friends, family. You don't have classes, you don't have anything to worry about, no work. So you're kind of being comfortable, relaxed, right? And then the other end of the spectrum over here is finals, all my deadlines, everything is due, we're wrapping up semesters, right? That's kind of where you start noticing feeling anxious, or you're burning out, or your stress level is really, really high, right? So notice as your stress level is high, you start to kind of overstress, overpressure, and your performance starts to drop. Whereas, again, when you're quiet and there's nothing going on, your performance might just be on a low level, but that's not when you have deadlines, right? So the idea here is kind of to be in this optimal level of stress, which is kind of in the middle here. And that's where we feel energetic, motivated, excited, and ready to go. We're not to the point where we're fuzzy-minded, tired, exhausted, where we can't perform. So this is a really, really tricky balance, right? How many of us have experienced this optimal level of stress, somewhere in the middle? Yeah? What does that look like? What does that look like for you? How do you know that that's where you're at? You're not on this end of the spectrum, you're not on this end of the spectrum, right in the middle.
I tend to be very joyful in the middle and to help more. I tend to have things not offend me so much. Great.
It's great, right? I know, it feels really good to be in this level. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So recognize when you are in that level, what is helping you stay there, right? So check in with yourself of, well, what am I saying to myself? What's my environment look like? Who's around me right now? Have I gotten all my things done? What's helping me get all my stuff done? Right? That's what's helping you stay at this optimal level of stress. And so in moments where you find yourself on the other end of the spectrum, where you're kind of anxious or burning out, use those skills from this optimal level of, okay, well, what did I do last time that really helped me decrease my anxiety, decrease my stress a little bit, bring me back to the middle, right? What was helpful for me? What did I say to myself? Who was I surrounded by? What did I get done? Did I write a task list? Did I go and get ice cream? Did I watch Netflix? Did I take a break? What was it? Did I go to the gym, right? So checking in with, okay, well, what tools have I done right now that have really helped me stay in this middle level, right? I saw a few others raise their hands about being in this space. What does that look like for you? Others? Anybody else? Yeah.
It reminds me of if I study fully and I kind of like turn in and sleep and like going into the exam, like I feel like I need to well.
So that was a good strategy for you, right? Getting enough sleep, and that helped you kind of stay in this middle space, not burn out, not oversleeping, right? Okay. How many of us get at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night? Should I count? It's like 20% of the room. Okay, dare I count? Like 2 of you? Okay. All right. So what's that like when you only get 4 hours of sleep? You have an 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. class the next day. What's that like? What was that?
I just want to take a nap.
Yeah.
In the middle of the day, I'm just like, I'm done.
Tired,
Yeah.
right? And that's kind of what it looks like, right? When we're so compacted, we have so many things to do, so much on our schedule. Sleep is the first thing to go. And that brings you over here, right? Sleep is the first thing to go for a lot of college students, graduate students, even adults who are just kind of working. I'm sure some of our staff members here can share and attest to that, right? So really highlighting here and recognizing, okay, well, if I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling irritable, I'm feeling overwhelmed, how much sleep did I get last night? If you ask yourself that question, it may have been less than 7 to 9 hours, right? So that's kind of the average. So recognize, check in with yourself. It's all about you. It's all about what works for you to manage your stress. If you know that it does not feel good, so you only get 4 hours of sleep or 5 hours of sleep, and that brings in, that increases your stress level, what needs to shift? What needs to change so that you can get enough sleep, so that you bring yourself back to a level that you can perform? Okay. Sleep workshop is a whole nother thing, but it's very important. So during the semester, we also do, again, those wellness workshops, and I do one just on sleep. So if you get a chance, please do attend. They're drop-in, you don't have to sign up. But we talk a lot about sleep hygiene, good sleep, how to get good sleep, and how to identify your own sleep patterns, right? That's a whole other topic, but very important for stress, okay? So keeping that in mind. Any questions about the stress curve? This is just another example of what it looks like. It's not a lot much going on, but same thing, right? Optimal level of stress level on the bottom here, performance on vertically, and kind of what that looks like. Any other thoughts about the stress curve? All right, where is everybody at right now as you're sitting here? Check in with yourself, right? I'll bring it back to this one because there's more like descriptors, right? So check in with yourself. Where are you right now as you're looking at the stress curve? What? Tired?
Yeah.
So like over here?
No, look towards the middle, like right
Right
there. Yeah.
Manageable-ish? Yeah. Okay. And what would it take to bring you back here?
A nap.
I always talk about naps because I love talking about naps.
Yeah.
You want to limit your naps to less than 30 minutes or less. Because then it starts impacting your sleep at night. So keep that in mind as I talk about sleep all the time. But keep that in mind as you are taking and using that as part of self-care. Helpful, but also moments for self-care is not helpful.
Yeah, I found that like 10 minutes of naps every day.
Yes.
It really like re-energizes.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Absolutely.
Don't go over 30 minutes. That's not like that. Like
Yeah,
I wake up.
you wake up groggy. Yeah. You wake up hazy. Like, what am I supposed to? Where am I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's because our brain is starting to go into the different stages of sleep. And so once we pass that level, our natural response is going to be hazy and groggy because our mind's not as alert. So absolutely, yeah, keeping it short and brief. I saw another hand.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's like for this topic, but I just wanted to know a little bit more about, because you're mentioning about naps and sleep. Like just roughly like what 3 habits should we have when we're going to bed? Like just to have that like don't do your phone.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, yeah, great question. So one of the things I talk the most about with my students is not being on your phones, not being on your laptops, not being on any electronic or technology while you're in bed. Because what that does is, well, first of all, the light that's emitted from that source is already impacting your brain. And then what's happening on top of that is your body is pairing sleep with what's in your face. And that's typically your phone, or your laptop, or homework, or whatever. And so they're highlighting here that if you're going and you're getting ready for bed, part of your routine is putting that technology away. Not being on your phones when it's really dark and the light is really bright, right? That's going to impact your brain's ability to wind down. So that's one. The other is having a bedtime routine, and that can look like a lot of different things. It can look like having some tea, taking a bath, playing some boring Sudoku game. I love Sudoku, it's not boring to me, but like a crossword or whatever it is, like some way for your body to wind down. It can also be a relaxation exercise. It can look like you are watching something, that's okay, but just not doing it in bed. Maybe some light reading that's not school related, right? So that's another thing, like a bedtime routine, that can be brushing your teeth. Being comfortable in your space is also very important. So making sure that the temperature is okay, that it's comfortable, your PJs are comfy, your bed sheets are comfy, all of that. That can make a difference as well, small things. Also, food intake and exercise. If you are exercising, you want to exercise at least 4 hours prior to bedtime. Because what exercise is doing is it's amping up our bodies. And so again, we want our bodies to kind of wind down. So at least 4 hours before. And with food, our bodies need time to digest. So keeping that in mind as well. What food are you having? There are certain types of food that can be helpful for sleep, but other types, like spicy food, that keep you up at night because your body is working hard to digest that. So those are some quick ones. Let's see if I can think of anything else to add. The other one is not doing any of your homework in your bed. So only sleep or sex in bed, maybe some light reading, whatever else that might look like, but no homework, no stressful activities in bed. Because again, what that does is your body is associating bedtime with stress. And we want our bodies to associate bedtime with relaxation, with sleep, with calm, with peace. If you're studying for an exam in bed, your body's going to get amped up for that. So keeping that in mind. Great question. Hopefully that answered your question. There's far more, but you can Google sleep hygiene, just like we have dental hygiene, things that we do to take care of our teeth. Sleep hygiene is similar, things that we can do to take care of our sleep. You'll find a lot on there. Okay, great. All right. Any other last minute thoughts before we move into self-care? All right. So again, keep this in mind when you're checking in with yourself, where you're at, where you want to be, what that can look like to kind of shift. Stress curve. All right, so I don't have my little definition up here, but what does self-care mean to you? There's no wrong answer here. Self-care, what does it mean?
Taking time for yourself, doing something that you like, even if it's for a brief moment, I think it kind of regulates what you're going through.
Yeah, absolutely. So just acknowledging that time for yourself, taking a moment, even if it's just 1 minute. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? What does self-care mean to them? Thoughts about whether you even practice it. We'll talk about that in a second, but definition of self-care. Self-explanatory, right? Oh, yes.
Say for me, treating myself.
Treat yourself. But it's true. It's really taking a moment to just take care of yourself and do something for yourself. And so I always say that self-care does not equal being selfish, because you really do need that time to kind of fill your cup in a way before you can then help others, especially going into a field where you're helping others. You're around others in some way, in some form or capacity, and that can get exhausting. It's a lot of work. And so really recognizing, okay, well, I really do need to take some time for myself. And so like you kind of, some of you have mentioned, self-care really is all these activities and practices that we can do, whether it be on a daily basis or once a week or once a month. That's really going to help us, again, more in the short term, like what can I do right now, and just overall in the long term. All of these things like sleep, for example, are going to help us in the long term. It might not feel like it's impacting our health now, but the more that we only sleep 4 or 5 hours a day, it's going to impact our health significantly in the future. So little things like that can start to impact us. So keeping that in mind, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. You have to take care of yourself first. All right? I'm seeing some reactions, thoughts? Yeah? All right. Okay, so stress management, right? Let's kind of talk a little bit more about that. All kinds of different things. But go ahead and kind of get back into your little groups again and take a few minutes to reflect on what self-care looks like for you. What kind of self-care do you practice, right? What do you notice when you practice that self-care? And then what would you like to incorporate into your routine as you kind of start transitioning to graduate school? Maybe something you haven't done before, or maybe something that you thought was working that you'd like to continue, right? So kind of take a moment to get back into your groups to reflect on what do you do for self-care right now? What does that look like? How do you want that to look like for you?
And then exercise, exercise and myself, even if it's just like, you know, it's not like
But no one knows as well.
I did like it.
But that's not because I
and something else too that you really like there's some
probably be doing winter break or something like that.
There's just something about like okay. Sometimes I start on my first job, but like I could bring it back.
Maybe that's because we all get together and start being hard.
All right. Okay, let's together now. Would anybody like to share what their groups discuss, what self-care looks like? How do you practice it? This is the fun part. We get to do all the fun things. What does that look like? What are some fun things we do to take care of ourselves. Yes.
I think anything that makes me laugh, watching shows or like having friends or like sharing conversations.
Absolutely. So any shows that are really funny that you watch?
I watch like kind of indie shows. I don't know if that can relate to anyone, but I watch Hulu and I kind of watch like modern love / comedy shows.
Okay,
So
cool.
they're really funny. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for sharing. So absolutely laughter.
Yeah.
There's a lot of therapeutic benefits
Yeah.
of laughter, right? We're getting more oxygen into our bodies. We're exerting a lot of energy. So absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Others? What else?
I go to the gym a lot, which is, it takes up a lot of stress. Because then throughout my day, also I'm thinking like, I need to be healthy, so I'm eating healthier foods, I need to feel better. And I like hiking.
Great. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. So being outdoors, right? Even just 15 minutes of sunlight in the day, I mean, we're in Orange County, so we have plenty of it, can be so helpful. Right now it's super hot, so hikes, I don't know how that's going with that, but absolutely. Exercise releases really healthy chemicals in our brain. Now, I always tend to say to my students, even walking in between your classes counts as exercise, right? So don't put pressure on yourself to say, oh, I have to go to the gym and I have to sit on this treadmill for 20 minutes and it's so boring, right? So not that it's not fun, like it's great for those who enjoy doing it, but recognize that exercise and getting that kind of energy out can look like a lot of different things. Walking your pet, just walking in between classes, maybe taking an extra round, like if you have extra time kind of getting to your classes, right? Little things like that add up and they count. So don't be hard on yourself and say, oh, I have to be in the gym for 60 minutes. Okay, great, thank you for sharing. Others? What else came up when we talk about self-care? So far we have exercise, physical, laughter, being around others. Whichever. There's 3 hands. Why don't you go?
Okay. Meditation. Like I know there's a lot of free apps for meditation, so I just pick one of them and do it for like 7 minutes, 15 minutes, depends on the day.
Great, yeah, absolutely. So relaxation, meditation exercises, breathing. This can be done again while you're walking between classes, or even while you're sitting in class waiting for it to start, right? Or even during bedtime. That can be part of your bedtime routine as well, or your morning routine, or your lunchtime routine, whatever it takes. Even if it's just once a week that you're doing it, that still counts. Not something you have to do every day. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Got 2 other hands. Yeah.
For me, it's like eating a different food, dessert, drink, or something, like tasting something different, like it's food. That's like my self-care is like knowing that, oh, we're going to eat here. And like recording that.
Awesome, cool. So do you probably check out Yelp reviews or anything like them? Okay. Yeah, and lucky for us, again, in Orange County or wherever you're going, right? We have plenty of opportunities to go and explore. So absolutely, that's great. I love that. Thank you for sharing. And we have one more hand.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't realize this was self-care. It's basically just cleaning my room and organizing everything, getting rid of all the makeup I haven't been used for 3 days and like my clothes. I just did this recently, but my environment really impacts my emotions and how I feel.
Yeah.
So I feel like by changing my environment, it's a way of self-care.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, right? That all goes back to our bodies are responding to our environments. And so when we make sure that we're not cluttering or there's not things around, like we'll be clean, that can be really helpful for us. Absolutely. So great self-care strategies that some of you have shared. Now, if you go to take a look at that packet, I wanted to turn your attention to that, where it says self-care assessment worksheet. Okay, you can see that there's a lot of different categories. Does everybody have that?
Yeah.
Yeah? There's a lot of different categories for self-care, right? It goes beyond just exercise, eating, sleeping, decluttering, right? There's all different types. So we have physical, we have psychological, we have emotional, we have spiritual, we have workplace, professional self-care. All of these things can add up. It can be as small as, I'm going to take a break from technology. I'm going to put my phone away for an hour, right? that can be a really helpful way of physical self-care. Also something, maybe that's on here that we don't think about is wearing clothes you like. Taking a moment to kind of appreciate what you're wearing. If it's a Cal State Fullerton t-shirt and you really are feeling it, great, right? So whatever it is that you feel like, it can be something that's small. We have to acknowledge that as being part of our self-care routine. So take a moment, about 5 minutes, to kind of go through this, check off for yourself which areas you notice that you're practicing a lot of, and maybe which areas you're practicing very little of. Okay, so about 5 or so minutes to go through that. Usually I have students kind of go through the whole thing. Feel free to do that on your own as far as you actually mark it. But just take about 5 minutes to just reflect on areas that you practice a lot of, that feels good for you, and areas that you don't really practice that much in.
We'll take a break, just go to lunch. Cheese me.
All right. Okay. So what have you noticed?
Yes.
What did we notice? What was that? There are so many.
For me, there's not many that I practice. There's many options. Self-care. And then when I was going over them, like for example, the physical one, I think I was just like, I think I only do like 2 of those right here. That's kind of the whole list.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing. So you're right, there's a lot. And this is not an end-all list, right? Just to give you a sense of, there's just a lot of different areas of self-care, a lot of different things that we can be doing as part of that. You might even notice what your self-care looks like now might look very different in 2 years, or in 6 months, or in 1 year, or in 1 month, right? And so it's really highlighting here, it's all about what works for you in that moment. Absolutely. So thank you for sharing. Others? What else did others notice as you're going through the list? Yeah.
I never even considered spiritual self-care, so I'm definitely like negative. So I put negatives on there. My emotional and psychological self-care are really good. I never knew that's what those areas were called. Physical is all right. But I don't know, those are like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Great, thank you for sharing. So it sounds like emotional self-care and physical or psychological self-care is your space, and that feels good, right?
Yeah.
So it's good to have these tools and recognize, okay, well, I can do this, this, and this when I'm feeling really overwhelmed. And these are things that I can now go to if something else isn't working.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
I realize that I'm good at like emotional, spiritual, and psychological. I've been kind of lacking on the physical side, but like what you said earlier, like if it was 3 to 4 years ago for me, it would have been completely opposite. So I kind of improved on other areas. Now I'm sort of been lacking on the physical side, so I kind of need to find a balance.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing. So it sounds like you really recognize that difference and how it really has shifted for you. And it will continue to shift, right? As you all kind of learn more about yourselves, learn more about what works for you, what doesn't work for you. These will continue to shift and you get to continue to add to it. But again, it all comes down to expanding that for yourself, expanding your sense of self-care so it's not just physical or it's not just emotional, right? It's a little bit of everything. You can kind of pick and choose when you need to. Absolutely. Others? Yeah.
And for me, I really want to try striving for balance. I usually am like the type of person that will maybe spend a whole day studying and that becomes too excessive.
Yeah.
And so I really for grad school want to try doing like smaller increments and hopefully with that be disciplined to study in those small increments so I can have time for it. So that's like my
That's your goal.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Speaking just from my own personal experience, that was very important, is managing that time so that you are able to practice your self-care and get your work done. Because you are more likely to kind of go towards burnout if we're just studying the whole time or we're doing tasks the whole time and there's no space for us filling our cups again, right? So again, being mindful of when you're running on empty and what you might be needing at that time. Everyone's experience is going to be different. And so use your cohort, use your peers as a way to reflect of, hey, what's working for you right now? This doesn't seem to be working for me. How can I change things up? So networking, kind of building that community. Absolutely, thank you for sharing. Something really fun that I didn't even notice in emotional self-care is re-watching favorite movies or favorite shows, right? The little things. So does anybody have a favorite movie or favorite show that they kind of keep watching? Yeah?
Watch The Office.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, my go-to is Friends. Right? So fun. So even just like 15 minutes of watching a show like that will bring a smile to your face, right? And what that does is you're already shifting the chemicals and your emotions, your brain, your body, you're already feeling a little bit better. And so using quick things like that can really make a difference. How many of us here tell ourselves that we're doing a great job, we're awesome, we're rock stars, I love me? Who says that?
We're trying to.
Absolutely. So yeah.
In relation to that, I was telling Anna earlier, I actually have something, I guess, I don't know what they call it. My friend's dad recommended to do it. It's called like an aspiration board or kind of like a dream board, kind of. Just has like a positive affirmation you just look at all the time. And you just post pictures of things you want to accomplish or little like phrases and things like that. So that's something that I have in my room.
Nice.
And I feel like it's really helping. So I don't know.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Next time you see me, I want to see a picture of it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So little things like that, like visual reminders, or reminders, verbal reminders that we can tell ourselves, definitely. That can be helpful. Yeah.
And touching on what Mary said, Josie has an amazing aspirational board that she put online.
She DM'd me. She's like, "Can I see this?"
No, that's great. That's great. So it's really nice to have, again, visual good for you all, right? You get to do some art, you get to be creative, and get to, look forward towards things that you're passionate about. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say with the whole loving yourself, telling yourself that personally, and I feel like people can relate to this, especially in this group. I feel it might be a cultural thing. because coming from my family, there's this like, oh, growing up, if people felt too confident and they expressed that, it almost came off as negative. So my parents would use the term in Spanish, meaning like show off or, like a negative connotation to that.
Yeah.
So growing up that way, it's just like you keep those comments to yourself, and like for me, I don't really tell myself that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. We have to be kind to
Yeah,
ourselves,
that's
right?
right.
And tell ourselves, like, yes, you can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So I really appreciate you pointing that out. Absolutely, culture has a huge impact on how we view ourselves and how we view what we're doing, right? I absolutely relate to that too. I'm Indian, and so I was born here, but my parents immigrated from India. And so being first generation within just college and then graduate school, it's a big deal. But then, of course, comes with that pressure and expectations that we put on ourselves. And so oftentimes we're, again, our worst critics and telling ourselves, well, I have to do better, I have to do better. And we skip over all the awesome things that we've already done to get to where we are now, right? So highlighting your strengths, those affirmations, recognizing, well, I've done X, Y, and Z just to even graduate undergrad and get, into a master's program. Like, that's huge, right? So I'm going to pat myself on the back. I'm going to tell myself I'm a rock star, right? Add as much as you can. So it's these little reminders, these affirmations that, again, can really help shift our mood, but that's also a very important part of self-care and just getting through your programs. Because you're already getting a lot of feedback already from all ends, right? Family, friends, program. And so the feedback that you want to be able to give to yourself has to be a little bit different. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So what are some cool things and fun and kind things that we say to ourselves? I have a whole slide on reflections. What are some fun things we say to ourselves, or we can say to ourselves when we're getting stuck or we're being hard on ourselves? What are some messages that we can say to ourselves?
I just emphasize that you are enough part.
Yeah.
That's the one that I'm working on for myself, and I know for a lot of folks who tend to be very ambitious or sometimes identify as a perfectionist or type A, like you are enough is kind of a big deal.
It is.
So
Yeah,
I'm glad that was my
yeah.
your
Oh yeah, I love that one. I love that one as well. Thank you for sharing. Absolutely. This is enough. Where you are at is enough, right? There's no such thing as good enough. You get to decide what that is. So if you set the bar at a certain place that's unrealistic, or you're setting it to a place that you never reach, that's gonna change a lot. It's gonna feel different. Absolutely. Yeah. So if you turn over and take a look at reflection of the day, the messages that we tell ourselves is very important. It impacts how we feel. And so highlighting things that went well during your day is a really healthy way of self-compassion, and also reflecting on a lot of your strengths. Telling yourself, this is enough. Telling yourself to relax. Telling yourself, I did a great job today. It can be anything. So notice how we have Monday all the way to Sunday. And it's just quick little prompts, but it's just a way to remind yourself of what went well today. What made me smile today? It can be something really, really small. Like I saw a hummingbird, and I really love hummingbirds, right? Or it can be, I saw a friend I haven't seen in a long time, and they made me laugh, right? So today is Wednesday. Yeah. Distract my days when it gets so busy. Okay. So today is Wednesday. Go ahead and take a moment to reflect on the 3 prompts that are there. Right? Today I accomplished. I was proud of myself when blank. What made me smile today? Or something that made me smile today. What's what? All right. How was that? Easy, hard, hard? Yeah? What was hard about it? Hard deciding things? Remember, it can be the smallest thing, it can be anything. No pressure on yourself to make it a certain thing. Right? Recognize that. It can be literally anything. Would anybody like to share? And you're right, it is going to be hard, initially, right? Because we're not used to talking to ourselves in this way. We're not used to being positive or sharing these positive affirmations towards ourselves. Sometimes it can be helpful to ask yourself, if a friend was experiencing this kind of stress, or if a friend was being really, really hard on themselves and they're saying, I suck, I can't do this, what would you tell a friend? Or your partner, or your family member? What would you tell them?
That they can. That they can do it.
You can do it, right? What else would you tell your friend? Yeah?
Don't say that. You're amazing.
Don't think that you're amazing. What else would you tell your friend?
Keep going.
What else? You've got this. You're a rock star. Keep going. You have a break coming up soon. Let's go get coffee. Let's go do something fun. Let's go watch this. Let's go watch The Office for a second, right? You can literally. So you would say all these things to a friend, and now it's being able to shift that and say it towards yourself, because you are able to say it to others. Now it's practicing saying it to ourselves. And yes, it will be hard because maybe culturally we haven't heard that growing up, right? Maybe it hasn't been modeled to us. So recognize, okay, well, how do I incorporate now? How do I incorporate this as part of my routine? What would that look like? Whether you wake up every morning and you say something nice to yourself, or you check in with yourself at the end of the day as you're going to bed, and that can also be a part of your sleep routine or bedtime routine. Practicing reflection in the day, or what went well. What was I happy about? What was I proud of? Yeah.
I've actually brought you up how I learned about this, but basically negative self-talk, it's kind of like the same practice where if you were to say that to yourself, like you imagine it saying it to your friend, but you would never say it to your friends while you say it to yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. So really practicing what you would say to others and being able to say that to yourself. I do a whole nother workshop on thought wellness and kind of messages that we can tell ourselves, thought patterns that we can get stuck in. So again, all of these materials are on our website. So for those of you who aren't going to be around in fall, please do check out our website and get the materials in the packets. And you can kind of go through it yourself, or you can email me. I'm happy to send it to you. And for those of you who are coming and continuing, at least here in fall, check out our workshops, and then we go more in depth into thought patterns that we can get stuck in and messages that we can tell ourselves instead. Okay. Would anybody like to share their reflection of the day for today? I know it was hard, but you did it.
One person, come on.
Yeah, we have a hand over there, yes.
So are we going with the Wednesday outline?
Whichever one you feel, yeah. Wednesday or whatever.
Today I accomplished well-known shy cat was volunteering.
Congratulations.
Oh, actually carrying her across the panels down and carrying her back up.
Wow.
That was a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
She doesn't scratch, but I just feel bad because I can't hold her, and it's like I have her by the scrub. And like it doesn't hurt them, but it's
Mm-hmm. You did that. Great job. Awesome. Anybody else? Who else? Some cool things you all did today. You're just holding back, not sharing with me. I want to hear all the cool things. I mean, I just sat in my office all day and worked. It's not as cool as what you all did, yeah.
So what made me smile today was that I had lunch with my boss.
Nice. Great. Thank you for sharing. So notice as you reflect on that, right, the things that you've done, the things that you're proud of, notice how that makes you feel. Probably brings a smile to your face, kind of brightens your mood. So that's the whole practice of this. These affirmations are going to help shift your mood in a positive way. Okay. So again, another part of your packet, we're not going to go through it now, but if you turn over, it says develop your own self-care plan. Okay. So hopefully you take some time for yourself, kind of whether that means in the evening today or whenever you want, to develop your own self-care plan. Think about the list that we went through for the self-care assessment. Reflect on maybe areas that you'd like to incorporate into your routine. Think about the things that are stopping you from doing that and what needs to change to make that happen. So it kind of walks you through the 5 different steps of what's happening for you right now, what are you practicing, what would you like to practice, what's getting in the way, what obstacles are stopping you, and then kind of what solutions you can come up with that can help you navigate through those obstacles, and then the plan that you hope to do and accomplish. Right? Any questions about the self-care plan? Again, this is for you, it's unique to you, so really reflecting on what works and feels the best. It could be something as simple as, I want to make 15 minutes a day just to exercise, right? Or, I want to take time to watch something funny. Whatever it is. Okay. Lastly, I just want to kind of remind yourselves that when we experience emotions, when we have certain thoughts, remind yourself that you are not that thought, you are not that emotion, especially if it's a negative emotion or negative thought. Think of it as creating distance between that thought and your emotion. Okay? So if I tell myself I'm going to fail, I'm really upset right now, I'm assuming that that is a part of who I am. And that's not the case. I'm more than just that. I'm more than just this emotion or just this thought. And so telling yourself and saying, well, I'm having this feeling or I'm having this thought helps you create some distance between that. And it doesn't mean that, if you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, that's a thought that's not going to be helpful. And so that does not define who you are, define your experience. And so having that shift of, okay, I'm having this thought right now, let me check in with my mentor, let me check in with a friend, let me check in with somebody that can help me navigate through that thought. Okay? So remember, it's kind of thinking of it like a wave. There's no such thing as a good or bad emotion. It's just there. So when you create that distance, it can be really powerful. So we have, somebody had mentioned, you had mentioned apps that we can download that can help us. If you turn over to online resources, there's a list of websites that you can check out and apps that you can download for free that will give you access to kind of meditation, relaxation, different ways of just tracking thoughts. So these are really healthy ways of being able to practice even just 5 minutes a day of meditation and relaxation, really allowing more oxygen into our brain and releasing some of that negative energy out. And lastly, before we wrap up and move to quick questions, as my time, we have about 5 minutes. Has anybody heard of belly breathing before? Yeah? Has anybody practiced that before? Yeah? Okay, so belly breathing is really breathing from our diaphragm. And for those of you who have practiced it, feel free to jump in and share what your experience is like. But it's really breathing from our bellies. Right now, we're doing a lot of shallow breathing. So sometimes when we do a lot of shallow breathing, we're holding a lot of tension in our bodies. We're not releasing it. And so when we take a deep breath, this allows more oxygen into our lungs, more oxygen into our brain, and it really, when we exhale, helps release all of the tension that we're holding. And even just 3 breaths can make such a big difference. So notice right now how you're feeling as you're sitting here. Notice any muscle tension in your body. Notice if there's any tightness. I don't know what I did to my neck, but my tightness is all over here right now. Right? So I notice that that's kind of bothersome to me. Right? So check in with your body, check in with your feelings. And we're just going to take a few deep breaths together. If you feel comfortable, if you don't feel comfortable, that's okay. Just sit back and just listen. Okay? So the goal here is that we want, when we inhale, so if we want, when whoever's ready to practice, go ahead and take one hand. We're going to put it over our chest. The other hand, we're going to put over our bellies. The goal here is that when we inhale, we want our bellies to inflate. Okay, so we want our bellies to inflate when we inhale. When we exhale, we want our bellies to deflate. So think of it like a balloon. So when we have a balloon in our stomach or around our bellies, when we inhale, we want our bellies to inflate. When we exhale, we want them to deflate. That's when we know we're taking a deep belly breath. Okay? So in through your nose is when you inhale, and exhale out through your mouth. We're going to take 5 deep breaths together. If you feel comfortable, you can go ahead and close your eyes, or gaze kind of wherever you feel comfortable gazing. All right. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. 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 Last one. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. All right. How was that? What did we notice? Feel people falling asleep already.
My body feels more relaxed.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was kind of difficult, like my belly. I think I'm used to breathing like my belly.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So you're right, it's a different experience. But kind of that's when we know we want our bodies to really just in place. So that's the practice part, but even just a few deep breaths sounds like it helps feel more relaxing, right? Others? What else? Yeah.
I like it when you're tense, the first thing that goes is like, so inhaling like through your nose reminds me of that you are breathing. And it kicks in the other nervous system, right?
Yes, parasympathetic nervous system. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So yes, it helps you really focus on your breath, helps you slow things down, especially when our minds are going in 100 different directions. Practicing a few deep breaths can really help our bodies and our minds slow down. And this can be something you can practice right before you go to bed, right before you start a class, right before you take an exam, whatever it takes, while you're walking, going to our arboretum, right? So taking that moment just to check in with yourself, or downloading apps if that's something you'd like to do, right? Any final thoughts, questions before we wrap up? Before we wrap up, there's an exercise I'd like to end with. It's going to be on 3. You think about it before I tell you to start, but I want you all to, again, feel comfortable doing so. Say a positive message to yourself as we wrap up. It can be all at once. Share it if you want. You can say it to yourself if you want. If you want to say it out loud, that'd be great, right? So positive message that you can tell yourself, something that you're proud of. I am a rock star. I am awesome. It can be anything. I'm happy. I'm grateful. Whatever it is. A positive message that you can end today's workshop with. Okay. Does everybody have one in their mind? Ready to say it out loud? Maybe? I'll say mine out loud. Okay, ready? Are we ready? All right, so on 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Great, thank you all. See, I see everyone smiling right now. And that's the point, right? So positive affirmations help us smile and or laugh. All right, great. Thank you all for doing that with me. So any final thoughts, questions as we wrap up? I have a quick just evaluation for you to fill out for me, and then I'll just collect it from your members, team members later. I also have the flyers here for anybody that's interested in the wellness workshops. The wellness workshop flyers themselves will be on our website. Probably at the start of the semester. But again, all of the materials are on there, so feel free to check them out. You can email me directly if you want them. So a lot of different options there for the wellness workshops. And then the ones I have up here are just for the art one. So if anybody would like those of you who are around, I think I have hopefully enough in there. If I don't, I'm sorry. I'll bring some more. All right. I'll leave them hopefully with your team members here and your advisors. So is it off campus or is it on campus? It's off campus, yeah. So typically our outreaches are just on campus. Typically we don't have people going on campus. But sending, we can send an email, we can see what we can do. There's also a Dr. Valerie Machada, and she gets all of our outreach requests. So you can always send it through her and see if that's an option for people. When is that?